Sige, let's not talk about the survey yet because it's not yet there officially. But if you look at you look at the images, the video, the footages, the photos. Well, mukhang substantial din ang support na nakukuha ni Mr. Marcos. Not just in Metro Manila, but in a lot of other places. I'd like to ask you, what do you think accounts for, given all the controversies he's been facing, the past, the present controversies, and the future controversies, what accounts for this apparent lead? Again, I'm not yet even talking about the surveys. But what accounts for this apparent lead? Yes, it's still early in the game, but it's quite an apparent lead.
Ed?
Well, okay. I can go first. No. Well, unang-una, it's really, to my mind, no, the kind of politics that we have. I've always argued there's no such thing as bobotante. No? Mga tao talagang inaaral hanggat maaari, no? With the little information that they have. To be fair with former Senator Bongbong Marcos, and I've seen him work in the Senate, and I can very well say he's really a good senator. But each time that the issue of the past, the issue of the father comes out, medyo nahihirapan talagang sagutin yung issue na yan. No? Pero just to give you an idea, to be objective about it, if you remember, I don't know if you noticed this in social media, the explanation of the source of the Marcos wealth, which is originally the Yamashita treasure,
Yes, sir. And the
has
Taliano gold?
now been changed to, was this an apparent former client, no, of the late Marcos Sr.
Sir, the
No,
Taliano
pero,
gold. That's Taliano. The Taliano.
That's right. No, but this was also denied, no, contradicted, no, by no less than the former Senator Bongbong Marcos himself. So, in other words, I mentioned this kasi if I'm going to imagine myself in his shoes, nahihirapan siyang kumbaga i-reconcile yung pangangailangan na maisara yung issue na yon. But at the same time, he is also seen by the people, no, as quote-unquote an alternative candidate, perhaps because they might have already seen so much of the familiar faces already, no, in our politics. Ang problema kasi, gustong-gusto nating mabago yung klase ng politika natin, pero wala naman tumataya sa pagbabago ng sistema. Yun ang problema dyan. So we always complain about this use of substitution. Yung binanggit ninyo kanina na bagong resolution ng COMELEC, for example, na kailangan magkaroon ka ng 100,000 followers para magkaroon ka ng tawag dito, yung account mo ay maging validated na account.
Yeah.
Alam mo, kahit na-validated yung account mo, this is not going to help control the trolls, no? In fact, there are so many regulations already as far as elections is concerned. Even the campaign period cannot be fully implemented, no, by the Commission on Elections. So clearly, the problem here is the kind of politics. I don't even call it system anymore, no? Kasi yung bastardization na tinatawag natin, it's just nandyan na yan nung simula pa lang. Ngayon lang natin nakikita yung full limitations niya. So, yun, hanggat hindi natin binabago yun, we can always complain about lack of resources and everything. But all of this will just go back to square one.
Indo?
Yeah, on my end, we continue to track voter preferences. That's why I know for a fact that there's no Pulse Asia or social weather station yet. But in our tracking last October and October, we noticed there are no controversies against Senator Marcos from a voter point of view. That means our views might simply reflect a minority. Mm-hmm. And that's where the challenge is. We have allowed maybe a narrative to prevail, especially on the top 3 characteristics that we tracked as early as June. This was our 3rd survey already. When we added the next question, to whom do these top 3 personalities does it apply to? And I'm referring to pro-poor, honest and trustworthy, and not corrupt, Marcos was way, way ahead of VP Lenny Robredo.
But Dindo, let me try to reconcile what you just said with your earlier statement na walang controversy associated to him. I mean, you talk about trustworthiness and honesty. He's been openly exposed, not being...
Voter perception. Diba? That's why it's not Dean the one that's speaking. I'm quoting.
I know. Yeah, but
how
that,
voters see him.
yeah, but that's my point. It played out on mainstream media. It played out on social media. All the questions about his non-existent college degrees, to tax evasion, and then to President Duterte with that innuendo about being a cocaine user and so on. I know what you're saying, that ultimately it redounds to public perception. I guess my question is, why is that not entering the public perception? It's not only mainstream media, it's President Duterte himself who raised those questions.
Number one, mainstream media is losing out on social media. That's a reality, and we need to really take that as a wake-up call for everyone, because imagine if they will shape the result of the election. On the part of President Duterte, there's a saying in political communication, you needed to keep on saying it. If you've noticed with President Duterte, after a week, he's gone quiet. That's why I've always viewed it differently. Maybe it was simply even a campaign support for Marcos. Inoculate him on this issue. Throw it out, and suddenly it's out there. No?
And then it doesn't stick.
Now there's no candidate for the president, because I've always believed it's Marcos and Sara Duterte who is his candidate. But the reason I pointed it out, Robbie, initially, is that is something that is now a challenge to the campaign of VP Lenny, that it's good to project the initiatives, what you consider as good characteristics of VP Lenny, but there's also an opportunity for them to define the other side and really raise those issues and question how come those characteristics. In those characteristics of ours, number 7 or 8 was West Philippine Sea. Do you know that Marcos was number 1 in terms of fighting for West Philippine Sea? And that's an issue that I'm familiar with, and I've not seen him say anything on that. But maybe on social media, a narrative is being said. But we cannot really monitor, because it's hard to monitor social media.
Okay, now what does all of this mean for the other people running against Bongbong Marcos for president? Isko, Vice President Lenny Robredo, Ping Lacson, Manny Pacquiao?
For me, I don't talk about Senator Ping and Manny Pacquiao. They've not really done well. With Isko Moreno, it's really a blunder on his part in terms of trying to position himself initially as an independent a few months back, quite critical of government. That's why his survey rose, and suddenly, past 2 weeks, seeking the endorsement. That's confusing to the public. And that's, I don't know where that comes from. No? But with VP Lenny, at least now, I think they just need to really to focus that true Duterte is there, but their opponent is Marcos. So how do you compete with the personality, with the image or the perception of the public vis-a-vis Marcos, and concentrate on that?